Do you know the game Fatal Frame? A survival horror game known for exercising ghosts with a camera, creating an overall unique combat system, and great visual designs and an eerie atmosphere? Combine that all together, you get an overall pretty cool experience. And you know, as a fellow gamer, this grabbed my attention. A beloved survival horror franchise, even being in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But any discussion or any information I try to look for this game, it's always about the aesthetics. You know, not the story or the gameplay. It's never about that. It's because of the recent trend of Y2K. And this game was able to attract a lot of grunge, alternative, Y2K gooners. But I feel like they forget the most important thing about this game. The game itself. Like, the f do you mean how do you like? I might not have any qualifications to talk about fashion, but I'm definitely a gamer. I'm a gamer who won't be won over by pretty aesthetics.
Despite it being totally okay to like a game's overall aesthetic without even playing it.
No, I'm pretentious. I'm pretentious. Booting up the game, you learn that this game is based on a true story. For real? Wait, there's like 5 games in the franchise. How many true stories are there? Don't believe it. It's fake. I was like, damn it, those aren't real. That could have been cool. It was actually used as a marketing ploy to get some more of that cash. But I think instead of doing that, they could have worked on a better box art. Like, what is this garbage I'm looking at right now? That's not even the main ghost in the game. I don't understand. Like, this is terrible. Okay, now that I'm done rambling, let's talk about the game. This is Mafuyu Hinosaki, and he's looking for his novelist friend, Jinsei Takamani. He was doing research for one of his novels in a totally not a haunted mansion. And as we entered the mansion, we're greeted with some questionable voice acting.
I wonder if his owner is still here.
We see a man slowly walking through the hallway, and I'm assuming it's Jinsei, so we followed him down, but the man also seemed to be quite aware of us. We go upstairs hoping to meet him, but he's not there. And suddenly, we're given a vision to what happened to Takamani and his colleagues. Mafuyu overhears a creak, but nobody's there. But the sound, it gets closer and closer. And then bam, it goes at a totally not a haunted mansion. Luckily, our camera had the secret mystical ability to see ghosts for some reason. The camera is the game's primary combat system. Since ghosts can't really be attacked by physical means, taking a photo with our camera is probably our best bet. I can already tell just by the combat system that this game is way more unique than compared to the others. I feel like Ghost isn't really a creature explored much in horror games. It's usually just zombies and zombies and zombies and zombies and zombies. Well, I guess there's Ghostbusters, I guess. What makes it so unique is that they just don't overwhelm you with ghosts. They usually just settle for one ghost, and that's generally enough. The way the camera combat functions, it brings forth a unique way to combat horrific monsters. Silent Hill and Resident Evil, they typically deal with their problems the same way. And like, usually once you get like the hang of the game, you just can like run away from them. In Fatal Frame, you're not really given that luxury, since ghosts are given the ability to phase through walls. And with that in mind, it encourages the player to engage with the game's combat system. And you're rewarded with ghost currency, which goes into upgrading your equipment and helping you exercise the ghost more efficiently. As we exercise the ghost, Mafuyu monologues about the camera, and it's special due to a very unique experience he had. He doesn't elaborate. As we try to leave, we notice something's off. As we slowly turn around, the screen goes to white, and we're introduced to the actual protagonist, Miku Hinosaki, the sister. Miku's also went to the haunted mansion to search for her brother, who's been gone for 2 months. It's kind of a chain reaction of some sort. Someone goes missing, someone looks for them, someone goes missing, and so on. We found the camera that where Mafuyu disappeared, and it seems like he was running away from something. Now we gotta save his bitch ass. Why can't he just stay at home and play League of Legends like all the normal kids? A little while later, we are greeted with a little girl in a kimono dress. She doesn't seem to be hostile like the other ghosts, but rather seems keen to help us out. And lo and behold, thanks to her, we're able to find a secret door because of her secret mystical camera. Entered this room with a scary zombie sound, which is unsettling because you'd be expecting like a scary ghost, but no, it's actually just a tape recorder. This guy over here, he was with Jinsei. This is the editor, Koji Ogata. By the looks of it, it seems he was taken by the same ghost that took Mafuya. Do a little scrounging around. And hey, look, it's editor. This is a boss fight. Nothing too crazy. It's not even the first one, but I won't be going over every single boss unless I have something interesting to say. We found a photo of the editor where the line seems to be etched on his neck and wrist. It's cryptic, but it probably means nothing. Hopefully. And with horror games, to pad out the runtime, they give you puzzles. Yeah, I love puzzles. I love puzzles. But especially in Fatal Frame, they give you hints. But it's basically entirely up to you to remember it, which requires a lot of backtracking, but not large enough compared to changing settings in other games. Oh, look, it's our brother. You're not my brother. The man with long arms. Yes, that is his official name. Very creative. I would assume the intended way would be fighting them in the hallway, but I ran back up the stairs and spawn camped, and I'm kind of a pussy. After fighting the boss, you have to unlock this one door with words that are too hard to read, and this one puzzle kind of confused me. It's a number passcode in an old, ancient language, and I don't know it. And I did find the numbers of the passcode. The passcode is counterclockwise, not clockwise. There was a text box that did describe this, but I didn't discover that until after I solved it, so it's kind of my bad. We eventually get a vision of Hisaki Tomoe, the assistant, and she reached an even worse fate. I don't even think I can show this on YouTube. Like, honestly, goddamn. I'll show a comical image of her death, so you can just get the general idea. And Jinsei saw this and ran away. Makes sense. And since the assistant died, she became a ghost. Yay! The interesting part of this fight is the limited movement, because of how the room was laid out. Sure, fighting the ghosts in the house were small, but it was enough. This one, not really. This is where Miyu's slow-ass running keeps biting me in the ass. But we still got in the bag. But her running is so slow. And she's in a haunted mansion, right? Her danger is lurking in every corner. You would think she would have at least some sense of urgency. But the one that's even slower is her ladder animation. Sure, making it slow adds some kind of suspense for what's coming next. But you do it enough time and it gets kind of stale and boring. This game is just boss after boss after boss. Other PS2 games will just whittle you down with common enemies and waste your resources on them, but it's not something you really have to worry about in this game. The game will also play a cutscene before the boss, which is just nice of them. We picked up a carving which will help us open up the shrine, and these two puzzles will be the one you'll be seeing most of the time. And once the door is unlocked, we are met with an unsettling sight of blood being all over the floor. And our ghost aura detector, it's going crazy. We use our camera to look around and oh god, is that Jinsei? He's not even referred as a novelist anymore, just as the crucified man. And I don't think he liked me taking a picture of him. He's one of the hardest boss fights in everyone out of night 1 due to him phasing in and out and having faster movement, so it's harder to track him. But I ran down the stairs so I had more freedom of moving the camera, which definitely made it a lot easier. We solved a little neat Buddha puzzle which gives us a broken piece of mirror. We tried to inspect it and see why it was locked up in the first place, and suddenly we see the main culprit as she comes out of the mirror. The fight changes to black and white and it becomes more disoriented and blurry. I tried to run away hoping I could use the same tactic on the novelist, but I couldn't leave. Ghost gets up close and personal and grabs our wrist. We see in unsettling visions as little kids will start dancing around us. Diddy party! And we wake up from this accursed dream and notice our wrist also has the same rope marks as everyone, and we're on a time limit. Knowing that our death will be inevitable, you have to find your brother and get out of here fast. That dumbass kid took the broken mirror piece. Now we have to find a way to take it back. We actually wake up next to a note written by Mafuyu, which is good news. I wouldn't really bother coming to this mansion if he wasn't alive. Leaving the cutscene, we are introduced to one of the most common enemies we'll have to deal with in most of the night. And when she gets you, she does a lot of damage. The gimmick of this fight is that she can't see, and she can only react based on sounds. Mafuyu even wrote this down on her notebook as a tip, but I thought this meant you shouldn't be moving around her because you can still make sounds when you walk, but the actually efficient way to do it is just to run away to a point where she can't hear you. And you know when she won't be able to hear you. You can't really miss it. This room had a locked door, but we're given information on how we can open the door. And it's actually near the well where we fought Ogata. So we just run into that general direction. Well had a lid, so we proceeded to take off the lid, and then we're suddenly attacked by this kid. And she screams out, "It's too dark." And she says that because she was stuck in a well till she died. Damn, that's kind of sad. You'll be fighting a lot of kids in this game, and I assume that the kids that was dancing around us in our nightmare were the ghosts that were attacking us. Okay, lordom time. In this mansion, kids would play this game called Demon Tag. Not the ritual, but normal tag with a cryptic name. A group of kids all slowly start to disappear one by one, and the main culprit is the ghost with long arms. I'm so glad I spawned camp this guy. Fuck this guy. The mother of the house came to disarray about the children's disappearance, and it's only happened because of a camera. The camera that sees things you're not supposed to see. Seems similar. Might just be a coincidence. We get visions of her family that moved into the house that her father actually came here to investigate too. To open up the altar witch, you need a blinding mask to open it to, which looked like this. Well, and the name checks out. There was this puzzle where we had to bring back a certain mask to a certain door to unlock it, but I completely got lost where we're supposed to go because we were actually supposed to go to the very first room in the house. And I kind of forgot about it, but now we're given access to a new room. And the puzzle was just basically matching masks to certain doors, so nothing too crazy. Eventually, we are able to obtain the blinding mask, but the same guy that was trying to use it will keep haunting us. We rushed throughout a couple of mini bosses, which is cakewalk for a guy like me. I totally didn't get mad a single time while playing this. You shut the fuck up. Oh my. And the door has finally been opened up. And assuming that Mufuyu is in here, because we see a vision of him making his way go down here. And of course, instead of finding Mufuyu, we find a piece of the holy mirror. And the ghost that gave us these rope marks. There's no place to run away because the cave is also surrounded by many ghosts that there are too much to fend off. And once again, we're knocked out. Once we wake up, we notice that the rope marks are getting stronger and stronger as the night goes on. So we really need to find our brother fast if we want to make it out here alive. Night 3 is the hardest one out of the 4 nights. The first 2 nights were to ease you in, but this is a point where the game just tests your ability. They would give you cutscenes to prepare you for an upcoming enemy, but they stopped doing that. Now you just jump straight into it. And I praised the game earlier for not overwhelming you with too many enemies because I didn't think the combat system would allow for that, but nah, the ghosts in the cave will now attack you randomly. But honestly, it's not that bad. The ghosts are really easy to beat, and at max there's only like 3 of them. What makes this night also hard is the lack of resources that they give you. I feel like in the first and second nights the resources were never a problem. I always had some medicine if I needed, but I could barely find some in this night. Some of the fights in here weren't necessarily hard, but because I was always so low on health, which made it extremely difficult. Maybe if I didn't waste it on the lady with no eyes, I would be fine, and I shouldn't be blaming the game, but it could never be my fault. It could never. This night 3 is a bit shorter compared to the other nights, so at least it didn't pad out for playtime. But I definitely spent a lot longer on this night than I needed to, and it's because of this guy right here, the Wandering Monk. He's a lot more evasive and teleports in and out, and sometimes he will phase through walls. And it's incredibly hard to keep track on him, especially with the camera's load sensitivity and the archaic PlayStation 2 controller layout. At first, I thought I must be doing something wrong because I obviously want to engage in the combat, but when I searched up for tips and tricks online, the only tips they had was just to simply run away. He has the most annoying attack patterns and the biggest health bar, but gives so little experience that at some point it's just useless to fight him, so you just have to run away. He will chase you, but after a while he'll just stop appearing. But he will appear randomly. We have to look for another carving to put in a door. We do that by tying ropes to statues in a certain order, which wakes up a ghost that has just a cool ass sword. He attacks you very quickly and tries to close the distance with a quick slash from his sword, but just run away for like a good minute and take a quick snap, and he's down in no time. Once you get the carver, you'll be meeting with the 4 mark. You'll receive an image of 4 locations that are scattered around the map, revealing that by going to these locations, we'll unlock what's hiding behind it. And let's hope you do remember the locations in these games. These fights are relatively the same on the 4 encounters. The gimmick is that they have no head, and the only way to damage a ghost is by taking a shot of their face. So it can raise quite a problem, but I also was fighting these 4 of these guys on 1 HP. It's not necessarily that these guys' attack patterns are hard. What makes it hard is that these little blue projectiles that they throw at you because I can't see through the dumbass camera lens. Once we finish beating the ghost, we are actually able to block whatever this is, and okay, I guess I'll take it. We follow the trail of blood because of course, and it leads to a room with an even bigger splat of blood. And we see the sword guy. He's only slightly stronger than the other time, but need I remind you again, I was only on 1 HP. I actually looked around the entire mansion to look for her, like just one. Luckily, I was able to find it, and it made a fight a lot more easier. Like I still died a lot, but it eased it. We finally obtained the Master Seal, which reveals a secret tunnel. We climb down, we find another piece of the holy mirror, and of course we meet our biggest fan. We try to climb a way out of here, but knowing how fast she climbed the damn ladder, we get caught, of course. We wake up in the same room where we learn the history of this mansion, and the girl in the kimono is pointing at the koto. At first we didn't know what that meant, but we found some sheet music lying around, and luckily, Miyu already knew how to play the koto, which unlocks a door that wasn't accessible before, and we find another mysterious ghost crying, "I don't want to die," and then fades away. Now we actually have to walk on some support beams to discover a hidden room, and we find the girl in the kimono stuck in the room. We get inside the cage and she disappeared, but in her absence, we were able to snatch another holy mirror and Kiri's hairpiece. Then we get a vision of someone who looks exactly like Mufuyu. And Kiri? Which shouldn't be possible because Kiri was born way earlier than Mufuyu. But no, it was the man who she loved when she was alive. Okay, lordom time. There's so much text and info that I didn't bother putting in, but I guess it should put in here somewhere. I actually didn't make it clear, but the ghost that is attacking us is Kiri Himuro, the Rope Shrine Maiden. The Rope Shrine Maiden was chosen through a demon tag ritual, where a group of girls were tasked to avoid being tagged, and the one who got the tag is the demon, and the last one who will be tagged will be the Rope Shrine Maiden, which was Kiri. Becoming the next rope shrine maiden and performing the strangling ritual, Kiri was secluded from everyone due to her being the rope shrine maiden for 10 years. But Kiri met and fell in love with one of the visitors that looks a lot like Mufuyu. And the Himuru family master, the sword guy, caught news of this and ordered for the dude to be killed. This filled Kiri with guilt because she felt she caused the death of someone she loved, and she will forever hold on to this guilt till her death. On the day of the ritual, Kiri laid onto it, and it's not pretty, but the reason she was secluded for so many years is because she needs to be severed from her attachment to the living world. Feeling all these guilt and love turns the ritual into utter chaos. The ritual was supposed to close the Hell's Gate, but since the ritual was a complete failure, it brought forth the calamity, turning the mansion into a spooky mansion, turning Kiri into a vengeful spirit. And look, Kiri just came in time when I was done with my exposition. The time you were actually able to run away from her, not stuck in one location where all exits are closed off. You can actually escape pretty easily. Just open like 3 doors and you're done. Mii goes back to where she left off on night 3 before she was rudely interrupted by Kiri. And the place actually leads to the room where the strangling ritual was performed, which spawns the former shrine maiden. She can't really attack you, she kind of just crawls on the floor. I actually wasn't sure if I was supposed to get her or not, because this is one of the ghosts that isn't really hostile towards you. Well, at least able to. We get visions where the ritual goes wrong and we are met with Kiri and Mufuyu. She killed the other visitors that went to this mansion but kept Mufuyu alive because he shares such a striking resemblance to Kiri's lover, and she absorbs him? I think. Now we are met face to face with Kiri, and unlike the other times, we're actually able to fight her. The boss fight wasn't that hard. It was actually quite easy to get a picture of her, but she broke our camera. As our camera is our only line of defense, Miyu's helpless. But suddenly, the kimono girl appears to point out that the camera we've been using this entire time actually holds the last piece of the holy mirror. And in the heat of the moment, we're actually able to outrun Kiri, inserting the completed holy mirror to seal the gate. Sealing the gate evokes a light that splits Kiri and Mufuyu apart. And the kimono girl walks right up to Kiri and to tell her, "Don't forget your duty." And Kiri understands her role as the rope shrine maiden, and that she is the only one that will be able to seal the gate of evilness. As the mansion starts crumbling apart, we make a run for it, but Mufuyu does not want to leave. Ultimately, Mufuyu chooses to stay with Kiri because he sympathizes with the fact that Kiri has to suffer eternally for the greater good. So Mufuyu wants to stay with Kiri so she wouldn't suffer alone. Suddenly, Miku appears right in front of the mansion. She looks back at the mansion, she sees all the spirits ascends, and finally, she no longer sees what others can't. Okay, I have very mixed feelings about this ending. While I do appreciate Mufuyu's selflessness, and it's a very, very kind gesture, also, you don't know this girl. We didn't deal with 4 traumatizing nights, almost risking our lives, that no high school girl should experience, with just for him to not come back. I think this ending was a little too bittersweet for my liking, but what's a survival horror game without multiple endings? If you beat the game on the nightmare difficulty, you actually escape with Mufuyu. Mufuyu condemns Kiri's sacrifice that she will have to suffer eternally for the greater good. In the 3rd exclusive ending for the Xbox, wait, why? If you beat the game on the fatal difficulty, you'll get the exact same thing as the 2nd ending, but you get extra pictures of what happens to Kiri's and she's reunited with her lover. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Now, after beating the game, I can definitely understand why all the Y2K, gothic, grunge, alternative, shoegaze, and other buzzwords I can probably throw. I actually can't find the exact name of this aesthetic. I understand why they would absolutely love this game's visual appeal. This game perfectly encapsulates on the current Y2K trend because I feel like many people are very nostalgic of that era, and they want something that could like remind them on what they experienced back then, like with Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and the Fatal Frame. I would say aesthetically it's easier to gravitate to Fatal Frame, right? Because I feel like it's so distinct and unique compared to its like competition. The haunting atmosphere, the muted color palette, and the eerie atmosphere mixed with old Japanese folklore. You create a game with unforgettable visuals, but a really solid game about a ghost that has to fulfill her duty of saving the world, but it all comes to a stop because she simply fell in love. Sacrificing kids, torturing little girls are all very bad, but it was a necessary evil to stop an even greater evil, and you face the evil as the game progresses. And I believe the gameplay complements that in the best way possible. You're documenting your entire journey, and the ghosts you face are stuck here forever in this mansion because they couldn't keep the fucking damn gate closed. And this game has so many elements for it being one of the most underrated survival horror games that I'm really looking forward for the next installments in this series. Even the one that came out on the fucking 3DS. As each game progresses and as the game will find its footing, with its overall visuals, because behind the aesthetics, I really like this game. And you should play it too. You should. Please like and subscribe. Please.